to the extensions class. We have a static class called extension methods, and the first method, which is read integer, it reads an integer value from a line in a text file and converts it to an integer using dot to int 32. So if, say, if 42 is within quotations, it gets converted to a integer. The read single reads a single a I guess a single floating point number or float from a line in a file and converts converts the string to a float using .to single method or function. The read color reads a line from the three lines representing R, G, and B, red, green, and blue, and creates and returns a new color object using .rgb color. The write color method writes a color to a file by saving its R, G, and B values and uses string interpolation to format the output neatly. Moving on to the program class, we start by defining an enum for the shape types: rectangle, circle, line, and uh, the add random shapes method adds random shapes to the drawing. We create a random, uh, I guess, random number generator and a variable called new shape of type shape to hold the new shape. We generate a random position for the shape within the given coordinates, and we also generate a random color for each shape. You know, the switch statement, we randomly choose between the three shapes that we defined earlier. Yep, with random, the shapes are with random uh, features. For example, the circle has a random radius, and the line may have random endpoints or angles. And we add the new shapes to the drawing. Moving on to the draw full name method. This is the method I use to draw my full name, as you can tell from the method name of the method. These are the constants, the starting constants for the letter positioning and sizing. We have the starting XY coordinates, the height, the width, and the spacing between the letters. Yeah, so all of these are basically uh, figuring out how, like, the correct angles of lines to draw specific letters. So for M, I'm using two vertical and two diagonal lines of half the size of the vertical lines to create the M. For the O, I'm using a circle. For the H, Oh, and after I'm done with making a letter, I add the spacing using using this. And after I'm done, I uh yeah, and then move on to the next letter. And then I add the space and add the next letter, and yeah, it keeps on going until we come to D, which where it gets way more complicated. So for the D, we have a vertical line and multiple small lines to create the arc for the circular part of the D. Yeah, and these are the starting and the ending angles. Um, the these are the coordinates to calculate the uh, to be calculated for the arc, and yeah, we add each segment as a line. Moving on to the scale down method, we basically reduce the size by 10% every time the button is pressed. So, for example, the width and the height of the rectangle is multiplied by 0.9. In other words, reduced by 10%. The same for the radius of the circle. Now, for the line, I um, first calculated the center of the lines and then reduced it and then added the reducing functions so that the line, when it reduces, moves to the center of moves towards the center from each end. Okay, moving on to the main method. Um, this is the this basically is well the shape kind to add is like um, the default shape to add, and then we also create a new drawing with a default background or a yeah, and we also create the window and constants for the parallel lines. Um, in the main loop, um, the these are used to handle the input events and also clear the screen. And these are the shortcuts for each of the functionalities. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's about it for the codes. Moving on. Okay, this is the UML. We have the program class, the drawing extension, and the abstract class shape, which aggregates these concrete shapes of rectangle, circle, and lines. And the drawing has shapes, and program uses the drawing, and the shapes inherit and from shape. So, for example, if the program calls for add random shapes, the drawing receives the request and creates 5 shape objects and stores them in the shapes list. The shape objects are generated randomly. For example, it could be a circle or rectangle or a line. The program triggers the draw method, and drawing iterates through the shapes, calling uh, uh, each one's splash kit functions. Moving on to the sequence diagram. To add random shapes, the user presses the program and program calls the add random shapes method and draws 5 shapes. To draw the name, the N key triggers letter by letter construction, and the loop handles each letter's component, such as lines or circles. And the final draw renders all shapes, and the scaling, the SK initiates scaling and drawing iters through all shapes through type-specific scaling. For the future work and reflections, um, if I had the time, I probably would have added an undo and redo function and maybe a group selection transformation, or making the name so that it is one shape, the whole name is one shape and can be deleted through one backspace after selection. And in this method, sorry, in this unit, I learned how the effects of polymorphism, the importance of planning, and the uh, value of separation of uh, concerns to maintain maintainability. Yeah, thank you.